goal here in all of this that we are doing in this unit, we will take full 2 weeks to do that, maybe a little longer, because that's what managerial economics is all about. We are talking about profit maximization. Okay. Now, if you read the book, or any book for that matter, or talk to anyone, some will tell you that for a manager, that is not the goal or the only goal. But we take it for granted that as far as we are concerned for this class, that is the goal of a manager, is to maximize profit, to maximize the shareholders' equity, shareholders' wealth. Okay? So we take it for granted. A manager lives and dies to maximize profit. And there are 2 things about profit maximization. Number 1, we will define what profit is. And number 2, there is a golden rule in all of economics about profit maximization. We will follow that rule. That rule applies to all 4 markets. There is exception, of course. You must have heard the expression, exception proves the law. So we do have exception. But first of all, the goal of a manager is to maximize profit. So let's define profit, and then let's talk about the golden rule. Okay? So here is profit. Okay? Profit is defined as total revenue minus, I'm just writing it in bold letters, total cost. Profit is equal to TR minus TC. And to maximize profit simply means one or the other thing. It can come from the revenue side or it can come from the cost side. That is the law of reciprocity in little higher level economics, the next higher level course that you take if any of you at all go into the PhD program. That's called the reciprocity theory. To maximize profit means either maximizing revenue or minimizing cost. If you minimize cost, you guarantee maximum profit. Correct? And good entrepreneurs are the ones that will approach it from either side, okay, or from simultaneously from both sides. One of the greatest entrepreneurs of the world, and certainly the greatest entrepreneur of America, was Henry Ford. What about Henry Ford? How many of you know why Henry Ford is known to be one of the greatest entrepreneurs? 2 things. Give me 1, 2. Ford. What about Ford? Number 1 is he is the one who is credited with producing the first automobile in the US. Okay? The first automobile was not produced in the US, it was produced in Germany. It was actually produced in France, and then Germany was second, but in the US it was Ford. But Ford was the one who minimized the cost of production. Think about it. Way back in 1903, 100 some years ago, when he found out that he is not making enough money on these cars because it is costing him way too much, then he decided to look at the operational cost of producing a car. And back in those days, if any of you guys, this could be an interesting paper also for you. He went to the Model T car. You must have heard about this car, Model T car, okay? And then he found out that he could reduce the cost by as much as $5 when a car was sold, $5 per day per worker. And the price of the car was roughly about $1,000 back in 1903. And that's how he made big names. So that is minimization of cost. So either maximize profit or minimize cost, and you are guaranteed to maximize your profit. Okay? Now, what is the golden rule? And that is where we're going to take a couple minutes to explain that. Okay? The golden rule of profit maximization is the following. Profit is always maximized, always. That's why we call the golden rule. At the point where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Okay? So I call this golden rule of profit maximization. Okay? Golden rule of profit maximization. Marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. First of all, what is marginal revenue? Who can tell me how we define marginal revenue? Please try, you will not be wrong. Anyone? Marginal revenue is MR equal to, how do we define it? Don't need to look at the book. It is, somebody? Change in revenue by selling one more unit. Change in total revenue. Very good, Ron. Okay? Change in total revenue by selling one more unit. And marginal cost is the same way. Change in total cost by producing one more unit. Okay? So let's define MR in the following way. MR equal to change in total revenue as a result of change in quantity. And MC equal to, and we defined MC, change in total cost as a result of change in producing one more quantity, right? So why is it that profit is going to be maximized at the point where these two things are equal? Let's talk about this intuitively, and intuitively is actually the best way of explaining that. As I said, in a little higher level microeconomics, intermediate microeconomics, you can do these things with math, with calculus, but intuition works as fine. Okay? Think about the marginal revenue. The nature of marginal revenue is that it will keep going down. As you keep selling something, whatever it is, the most popular thing in the world also, initially there's a big hype, but as you keep selling it, marginal revenue will start to go down. It becomes, out of fashion. People buy something else, people don't like it, or simply, they just want to try something different. So on the part